Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi praises Yuva Shakti at the Prasar Bharati Young Leaders Summit as India celebrates National Youth Day. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to represent India at Donald Trump's swearing in as US President on the 20th of this month. European Union foreign ministers to discuss lifting of Syria sanctions, says EU Foreign Policy Chief. And India is set for hosting the world's largest spiritual gathering. Prayagraj is all decked up to host Mahakumbh 2025. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will represent India at the swearing-in ceremony of President-elect Donald Trump as the 47th President of the United States on the 20th of this month. The Ministry of External Affairs said on Sunday that Dr. Jaishankar will also have meetings with representatives of the incoming Trump administration during his visit to the US. The minister will be attending the ceremony on the invitation of the Trump-Vance Inaugural Committee. South Korean President the suspended President Yoon Suk Yeol will not attend the first hearing of his impeachment trial in the Constitutional Court next week over safety concerns. His lawyer has accused the Corruption Investigation Office and the police of trying to execute illegal and invalid arrest warrants. Earlier this month, an attempt to arrest Yoon failed after an hours-long standoff with security personnel at the president's heavily guarded compound in Seoul. On the 3rd of December last year, Yoon imposed a short-lived martial law which triggered South Korea's worst political crisis in decades. The European Union's foreign ministers are set to convene in Brussels later this month to explore the possibility of lifting sanctions on Syria. This crucial meeting, announced by EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas, signifies potential shifts in EU-Syria relations. This meeting comes amid a complex backdrop of international relations where the potential removal of sanctions could have wide-ranging implications. The EU's stance on Syria remains pivotal, and the upcoming talks are crucial in determining future policy directions. Syrian de facto leader Ahmed al-Shara has met Najib Mikati in Damascus in a bid to fix strained ties, with the latter becoming the first Lebanese premier to visit the Syrian capital in 13 years. Both leaders focused on strengthening the border between the two countries. Here's the report.
Syria's new ruler Ahmed al-Shara and Lebanon's Prime Minister Najib Mikati vowed on Saturday to build lasting ties after the fall of Bashar al-Assad during a joint news conference with Syria's de facto leader Ahmed al-Shara in the capital Damascus. The trip was the first by a head of government of Lebanon to Syria in 13 years after Islamist-led rebels seized Damascus last month, bringing an end to the rule of Bashar al-Assad. Previous Lebanese governments refrained from visits to Syria amid tensions at home over the militant group Hezbollah's support for Assad during the conflict. Post the meeting, al-Shara said they had discussed issues including smuggling between the two countries, border challenges and Syrian deposits in Lebanese banks.
We give a chance to ourselves and the Lebanese people to build a positive relationship in the coming phase based on mutual respect between both the countries and the sovereignty of Lebanon and Syria. Syria will be neutral towards all the Lebanese people and will try to solve all problems through dialogue.
Mikati said Beirut and Damascus will work together to secure their land borders as well as to delineate both land and sea borders. Both the sides agreed to establish committees to address these matters and provide support.
Syria is the natural gateway for Lebanon to the Arab world, and as long as Syria is fine, Lebanon will be fine too. It is our duty to develop these relations on the basis of mutual respect, equality and the national sovereignty of both countries, as well as to work to prevent any action that could harm this relationship or threaten the security and absolute sovereignty of the two countries over their territories.
On Thursday, Lebanese lawmakers elected the country's army chief, Joseph Aoun, as the president, ending more than 2 years of vacancy. Syrian new leader Ahmad al-Shara had a telephonic conversation with Joseph and congratulated him for assuming the presidency. Ties between Damascus and Beirut have often been fraught since they became independent states in the year 1940. With Hezbollah weakened after 2 months of full-scale conflict with Israel, the move of the two neighbors coming closer may be a signal of peace in the war-torn nation, as well radicalized region with presence of ISIS. Anamika Pandey's report for DD India.
Foreign ministers and diplomats from Western and Middle Eastern countries are meeting in Riyadh for the first regional talk since the fall of Bashar al-Assad. Germany's Annalena Baerbock and the UK's David Lammy joined officials from Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the UAE and other key nations. The meeting, led by Saudi Arabia, follows recent discussions in Rome and Jordan on Syria's new Islamist rulers and their path to international recognition. The conference also addresses Syria's calls for sanctions relief to enable funding to Damascus, as the US issued a 6-month sanctions exemption to ease humanitarian aid. European nations are considering similar measures, but a final EU decision is pending. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is sending a high-level delegation, including the chiefs of Mossad and Shin Bet security agencies, to Qatar for talks on a deal to secure the release of hostages held in Gaza. The announcement comes after US President-elect Donald Trump's Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff traveled to Israel to meet Netanyahu as part of diplomatic efforts to secure a ceasefire in Gaza. On Friday, Steve Witkoff met the Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani to discuss the latest developments in the region, especially the efforts aimed at reaching a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, the Israeli military said 4 of its soldiers have been killed in the conflict in northern Gaza. 5 others have also been injured, with 2 in a critical condition. The Sudanese military and its allies have recaptured a key city in Sudan, chasing out a paramilitary group that the United States accused last week of genocide. The recapture of Wad Madani, the capital of Gezira province, took place more than a year after it fell to the Rapid Support Forces. Wad Madani has previously been a haven for displaced families in the early months of the war. The army also on Saturday continued its operations on the city of Bari, part of the greater capital, where it has also made advances in recent months. The conflict in Sudan started in April 2023, which has killed more than 28,000 people, forced millions to flee their homes, and left some families eating grass in a desperate attempt to survive as famine has hit parts of the country. And voting is underway in Croatia in a presidential runoff. According to opinion polls, incumbent President Zoran Milanovic is well ahead of his main challenger, Dragan Primorac. Milanovic won the first round of polls, which were held on the 29th of December. However, the runoff is happening as Milanovic fell nearly 5,000 votes short of majority. Campaigning for Germany's snap election is slowly and steadily picking up pace. The country will go to polls on the 23rd of next month. Whether the election will signal a shift in Germany's politics or not is a million-dollar question. Aarti Rana reports on the contest between the far-right AfD as well as the Liberals.
Social Democratic Party, SPD, is the leading coalition which is led by Chancellor Olaf Scholz. The SPD has faced challenges in maintaining unity within the coalition. Despite strong international positions on issues like the EU and climate change, domestic challenges related to economic issues, migration and public opinion have sometimes hurt the party's popularity. Though majority of the 600 delegates confirmed Chancellor Olaf Scholz as the party's top candidate again on Saturday, the 66-year-old Scholz governing coalition of the SPD and neoliberal Free Democrats, FDP, failed dramatically at the end of 2024. The Chancellor emphasized that the upcoming election was fundamental for the direction of future Germany.
The next 4 years will be crucial. What we need now is clarity. What we need now is level-headedness. And we need experience so that our country can get through this difficult time in one piece. In other words, this is not time for a big talks. This is not the time for old age recipes. This is not the time for politics at the expense of ordinary people. Or to put it briefly, this is not the time for CSU or CDU in Germany.
Ist nicht die Zeit für CDU, CSU in Deutschland.
The Christian Democratic Union, CDU, and its Bavarian sister party, Christian Social Unit, CSU, are the main opposition parties. After losing the 2021 election to the SPD, they are still rebuilding their position. CDU party leader Friedrich Merz criticized Chancellor Olaf Scholz at a party convention in Hamburg on Saturday for a strategy for dealing with future US President Donald Trump.
I can only advise us on the European side, regardless of everything that happens in Washington from 20th of January, to be prepared for the fact that we will have to become stronger, that we will have to become more united, that we will have to become more cohesive, and that we will have to defend ourselves better in defense policy. Regardless of whether the figure being discussed is 2%, 3%, 5% or 10%, we must be able to defend ourselves.
The Greens and FDP are partners in the current ruling coalition. A strong showing from the CDU, Greens or FDP could lead to new coalition formations, possibly challenging the SPD's leadership in the coming years. There is also a growing trend of populism and conservatism across Europe. That's why many see the AfD continues to gain traction, particularly among voters dissatisfied with mainstream parties, especially in Eastern Germany. AfD nominated co-leader Alice Weidel as their chancellor candidate on Saturday. In Wiedel's speech after her official nomination at the party congress, she vowed to close borders, end the energy transition and abandon EU climate policy, called for longer operating times for coal-fired power plants and the reopening of Nord Stream. The AfD has got second position at 21.5% in a recent INSA poll ahead of the February 23rd general election, with the CDU in the lead. The February 2025 election will likely be a crucial moment for Germany. Germany's role in Ukraine conflict, NATO and global trade could also be influenced by the results of the election, as the political leadership might change its approach to these important international issues. It will be interesting to see whether German voters go with liberal politics or get attracted to conservatism. Aarti Rana's report for DD India.
Now, the Palisades fire in the US is burning dramatically over parts of Los Angeles, California. A new evacuation alert has been cautioned in LA, and despite various attempts to control the fires, experts have said that weather conditions, including wind gusts, could make matters worse. Ragini Sudhir Chaudhary has more.
At least 16 dead and 13 missing, and numerous infrastructures engulfed into fire. The devastating visuals coming out from Palisades wildfire in Los Angeles is horrifying. Expanded into an additional 1,000 acres, spreading into the Mandeville Canyon neighborhood, the fire continues to pose new threat as authorities command evacuation. Smoke was seen rising from a stretch of the 72-mile-long freeway on January 11th. Weather conditions are expected to worsen over the next 72 hours, further stoking the blaze. Evacuation orders throughout Los Angeles area now cover 153,000 residents, putting 57,000 structures at risk. Starting on January 7th, the ongoing series of catastrophic wildfires has expanded to 6 simultaneous blaze dripping across Los Angeles County neighborhoods.
Elevated critical fire weather conditions are predicted to begin this evening and continue through Wednesday. Moderate to locally strong Santa Ana winds will affect Los Angeles County today and tomorrow, and again Monday through Wednesday. The Los Angeles County Fire Department will be prepared. These winds, combined with low humidities and low fuel moistures, will keep the fire threat in Los Angeles County high.
To gain control over the situation, air tankers dropped flame retardant and helicopters doused smoky ridgelines with water. However, climate scientists from University of California, Los Angeles suggest that the situation is not over yet.
The weather conditions upcoming look pretty bad, to be quite honest, from a fire weather perspective. In fact, actually worse even than I mentioned yesterday.
Total economic losses forecast as high as 150 billion US dollars, including those of preliminary damage and economic loss. A humanitarian team from Mexico has been deployed to fight the fires burning in Southern California. Palisades fire has spread into the Mandeville Canyon neighborhood. It also threatened to jump into Brentwood, where celebrities live and play. The National Weather Service warned of worsening Santa Ana winds that it predicted would pick up on Saturday night into Sunday. Biden's major disaster declaration unlocked federal assistance as U.S. grapples with the world cluster of fires in Los Angeles history. Ragini Sudhir Chore for DD India.
And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. India's Prime Minister dubbed Swami Vivekananda as the eternal inspiration for the country's youth on his birth anniversary. And reigning champ Arina Sabalenka shines at the opening of the Australian Open against Sloane Stephens after a rain interruption.
Devotion is visible everywhere here. The Mahakumbh 2025 here at Prayagraj is specially rare. Occurring after 144 years, this unique alignment is believed to make it an auspicious time for prayers and rituals. The Mahakumbh displays India's rich cultural heritage, uniting millions in a celebration of faith, devotion and harmony.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, on National Youth Day, marking the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated in the Viksit Bharat Young Leaders Dialogue 2025 in New Delhi. In his address to the young leaders, the PM delivered a special message saying that achieving big dreams is not an impossible task.
बड़े सपने देखना, बड़े संकल्प लेना और उन्हें तय समय में पूरा करना असंभव नहीं है। किसी भी देश को आगे बढ़ने के लिए बड़े लक्ष्य तय करने ही होते हैं। जो ये सोच करके बैठे रहते हैं, अरे छोड़ो यार, जो लोग इस भावना में दिखते हैं ना, वो चलते फिरते हैं, लेकिन मरी हुई लाश से ज्यादा कुछ नहीं होते हैं वो।
The PM also visited an exhibition at Bharat Mandapam where the youth presented innovative ideas and solutions to address some of India's most pressing challenges. The PM also interacted with the participants and saw their projects. The Viksit Bharat Young Leaders Dialogue is in line with the Prime Minister Modi's Independence Day call to involve 100,000 youth in politics without political affiliations, offering them a national platform to turn their ideas for Viksit Bharat into reality. And paying homage to Swami Vivekananda on his birth anniversary, Prime Minister Modi in a social media post called him an eternal inspiration for the youth, adding that he continues to ignite passion and purpose in young minds. The PM said, "We are committed to fulfilling his vision of a strong and developed India."
स्वामी विवेकानंद जी भी कहते थे, भारत की उम्मीदें, भारत के युवाओं के चरित्र उनकी प्रतिबद्धता पर टिकी है, उनकी बौद्धिकता पर टिकी है।
Now, the Embassy of India in Nepal also paid homage to Swami Vivekananda on his birth anniversary. Those in attendance at the event included embassy officials and the director and students of Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center. Professor Kaushiki, who is ICCR chair at Tribhuvan University, touched upon the continuing importance of Swami Vivekananda's teachings in contemporary times, especially for the youth. Swami Vivekananda's life and teachings continue to inspire millions, especially the youth, to pursue a life of purpose, self-discipline and service to others. And now let's get you all the news from the Mahakumbh, the largest gathering of humans on the planet. Well, the preparations for the Mahakumbh have been on at full swing in India's northern state of Uttar Pradesh, and Prayagraj is leaving no stone unturned to ensure a safe, clean and spiritual experience for millions of pilgrims. In the run-up to the same, the National Mission for Clean Ganga has taken the lead in organizing a massive cleanliness drive accompanied by awareness campaigns. These efforts aim to maintain the sanctity of the Ganga and its surroundings during the sacred event. And in a step towards ensuring security, a joint team comprising the National Security Guard, Uttar Pradesh Police, UP Anti-Terrorism Squad, UPPAC, conducted a high-level mock drill. This exercise demonstrated their readiness to handle any contingencies during the event. Adding to the grand preparations, a laser show has been organized at the Sangam. The dazzling display of lights is giving visitors a glimpse of the grandeur that awaits them during the Mahakumbh. Let me now take you across to my colleague Siddharth Bhajwa joining us live from Prayagraj. Well, good evening to you, Siddharth from Delhi. Now, are all preparations in place for the start of the world's largest spiritual gathering for 45 days?
Definitely a very good evening to you as well, Gautam, and definitely just a few hours left for this mega event to begin on 13th of January. This mega event, the world's largest religious gathering on earth, where around 450 to 500 billion people are expected to come, is about to begin. And certainly the preparations are now in full swing. I'm here at the entry gate of the premises of Mahakumbh Mela 2025, and as you can see behind me, the devotees are coming in because, like I just mentioned, the large influx of pilgrims are expected, and especially on the first day on 14th there is Amrit Snan. So both the snans are very, very important. People will come here and take holy dip in the holy waters, which is a confluence of river Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati. So yeah, people are definitely coming in. As far as the preparations are concerned, Gautam, then definitely there's a 7-layer security that has been deployed. From tomorrow the travel restrictions will be there. There will be more travel restrictions. Cars and vehicles, only with the valid pass will only be allowed to enter. Apart from that, people with valid identity cards will only be allowed. This sort of identity card is there, as you can see, and only with these identity card people are allowed here. Apart from that, no one, and any suspicious activity, any suspicious vehicle or people will be checked, and then any action will be taken. Apart from that, be it NDRF, SDRF, local police, fire department, everything is in check, and the authorities are leaving no stone unturned to make sure that this large gathering of people remains peaceful, safe and secure. As far as health has also been made priority in this particular mega event. There's a temporary hospital that has been set up, Gautam,
yes,
with all the crucial facilities, including 32 OPDs of different departments. Apart from that, there is major operation theatre, minor operation theatre and emergency.
Sounds great. So every eventuality has been considered and arrangements have been made to ensure that nothing untoward really goes unanswered. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment with that update from Prayagraj, Siddharth. Now in sports, Olympic champion Zheng Qinwen overcame a sluggish start to advance to the second round of the Australian Open on Sunday. Fifth seed Zheng secured a hard-fought 7-6-6-1 victory on centre court in the opening Grand Slam of the season, defeating Romania's 110th ranked Anca Todoni. Meanwhile, 17-year-old Russian Mira Andreeva also advanced to the second round with a commanding 6-3, 6-3 win over Czech Marie Buzkova on the John Cain Arena. And Belarusian tennis player and former champion Aryna Sabalenka began her bid to become the first woman in a quarter-century to win 3 consecutive Australian Open titles, defeating 2017 US Open champion Sloane Stephens 6-3, 6-2 on Sunday in just 71 minutes. Sabalenka is seeded number 1 at the Grand Slam tournament for the first time. The 2-time Australian Open champion won her first major championship at Melbourne Park in 2023 and then added another last January before raising her total to 3 slam trophies at the US Open in September. And that's all we have for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. You can scan the QR code on the screen and download the app right away. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.